they had issues, the insecurity issues in MYLGA, they also asked the boys who were disturbing to come drop their arms and embrace amnesty. And some of them even swore an oath to the gods of the land. I remember amnesty was also preached during the time the Ogoni region was also having, these issues. And I remember talking about it at the time, and I asked the question, should we be using amnesty in the way that we are using amnesty? So what is amnesty? What is amnesty? I have a lawyer, a human rights lawyer, who will help us, champion this conversation. Is Eugene Odey. Welcome on the show. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? The line is not clear enough. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Good evening.
Good evening. Good to have you on the show. So, what is the legal definition of amnesty? Can you help us with that, please?
Well, amnesty can only be found in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended under Section 175 and Section 212 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And by definition, amnesty is just a grant of pardon.
Okay.
So anybody who has been convicted of an offense created by an act of the National Assembly or the State Assembly.
Let me get you now. Sorry. We're learning. You just said amnesty can only be granted when a person has been convicted. Did I hear you right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
When a person concerned has been convicted with an offense created by an act of the National Assembly or State Assembly.
Okay.
Amnesty is a pardon that can be granted by either the President or the Governor of a state, subject to consultation with the Council of State at the federal level, as the case may be, or an advisory body in a state, a Security Council in a state.
Okay. Can the judiciary also grant pardon? Because we've seen cases
I've just told you that by the definition of the word, actually there's no such word as amnesty.
Oh, okay.
It is not couched as amnesty.
Okay.
It is couched, it is brought under a section. The two sections are described as prerogative of mercy. Okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It is titled prerogative of mercy. It is so by expression or maybe by application, you may now say it is amnesty. But the underlying word there is pardon. Pardon that can be granted under the Constitution by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and by the Governor of a state. The Chief Judge of a state does not have such powers to grant amnesty. It is only the President at the federal level and the Governor at the state level.
But why I'm asking is we've seen and heard reports where a chief judge either at the federal or state level is said to have gone to we call them correctional centers now and said, okay, we've seen stories like that.
Those are powers that the chief judge has after the person has been convicted, and probably if the offense is not such that will attract a capital life sentence.
Okay.
If it's a light offense, or maybe the person had actually stayed more than the time prescribed by law.
Okay.
In such situation, the chief judge of a state institution with advisory body, they call it jail delivery.
Oh yeah.
That's something different entirely from what we are talking about here. This one is that this person is already serving a prison term, but the offense is not such that it's capital in nature, okay? Or the person has probably outstayed the term prescribed by law. In such situations, the CJ has the power to intervene. And mainly, the purpose is for prison decongestion.
Okay.
And it really has nothing much to do with what we are discussing today.
All right, let's get to what we're discussing now. Back to amnesty. So if it is only when someone has been convicted that pardon is given, what then would you describe what we call amnesty in Nigeria, given by, is it the Yaradua Goodluck administration to militants? Is it the one given to...
You know, in Nigeria, we create a lot of things from nothing, just to get by, to be able to correct from certain things happening within our society. We just find a way to create words or to create events or create activity just for the moment. And then we'll find some laws and hide those things under those laws and make people to begin to think that we are actually operating a law when indeed we are not operating that law. If you remember, Asari Dokubo at some point, in fact, several fora, stated openly that he was not granted amnesty because he was never a criminal, neither was he convicted. Because the purpose of amnesty, as prescribed by the Constitution, presupposes that this person has committed a crime and has been found culpable of that offense, but for some reason, the government intends not to punish that individual with the full weight of the law, and so they grant the person what we call presidential pardon or governor's pardon. But it must be established that the person has actually committed a crime, and that's why Asari Dokubo has always said he was never convicted of any crime. Therefore, the idea of granting him amnesty is actually wrong within the definition of what amnesty is. And up till today, Asari Dokubo has not accepted the amnesty granted him by Federal Republic of Nigeria because he was never convicted of any crime known to law in Nigeria. So there's no record of any criminal activity against him proven in any court of competent jurisdiction within Nigeria. Therefore, you cannot be saying you're granting amnesty to somebody who was never convicted of any offense.
And that's why I'm asking, so what do we then call what we have? Because we saw people who were called in and were given some kind of pardon. You know, there's even
it is actually an anomaly for you to bring in people and just indiscriminately grant them amnesty when you haven't actually established any crime against them. Well, you know, like I told you, in Nigeria, we do many things to solve our problems. Sometimes we try to create those solutions trying to hide it under some non-existent law. What is happening with the amnesty program in Nigeria has no legal backing, if you ask me. Certainly, these provisions, the Constitution that we are taking into account today, Section 175 and Section 215. You may describe that as a political measure, a stopgap measure, a crime preventive measure that has been put in place, of course, which is well within the rights of the government to so do. Crime must not always be fought. Crime can be prevented, and there are some certain things that can be done to prevent crime, some of which is creating jobs, some of which is creating palliative, some of which is creating social security. If you ask me what they are calling the amnesty program overseas, is called social security program, where you engage unemployed youths, you give them some kind of salary or incentives just to keep them away from getting involved in criminal activities. So what they are calling amnesty, in principle, is actually a social security program to prevent youths from getting involved in criminal activity, if you ask me. That is the only way I can describe that.
All right. So
but if you look at amnesty stricto sensu, the way it is couched and represented in the Constitution, it means pardon that is granted an individual who has been found culpable of an offense committed, and that offense ought to be defined under an act created, established by the National Assembly or the State Assembly.
So when you look at we have a commercial break coming up, so I would have to step on the brakes now. When I come back, I'll ask you the question I want to ask you. Maybe I should just ask you so you can prepare for it when we come back. So, given your definition and given your explanation, do you think that amnesty has done the needful in our society? Because, like you said, it's used as social security. We'll be right back. Just stay tuned. Alrighty, if you're just joining us, we are looking at amnesty and how it has been used in Nigeria. We're looking at it from the legal angle, we're looking at it from the political angle, and I will get your views on that shortly, what you think, most especially because we've just been told by the Commissioner of Police that there was an ambush, there was some kind of deceit move by the killers of SP and Bashim. And the move that they made was that they said they wanted to embrace amnesty. So I guess they were asking the SP or the DPO to come and have the amnesty and how it is being used in the country. And we're asking, has it been done properly? My guest, Eugene Odey, a lawyer, human rights lawyer, he has explained and he has said, see, amnesty, the way it is coined, is basically a presidential or a governor pardon, right? And it is a pardon that can only be done when the person has been convicted. But if you look at the scenario in Nigeria, whether it's from the northern part of the country, whether it's from the southern part of the country, it is usually people who say, hey, please, I don't do it again, I'm tired, I want to drop my arms. And they are welcomed by, in some cases, the military, in some cases, the police, and they are welcomed and their arms are retrieved and they are allowed to go. And so we're looking at it. And this is the issue. And basically, when I open the phone lines, I'll be asking you what your thoughts are on amnesty. But first, I'm going to read the headline news, and then I'll go back to my guest and allow him answer the question I asked just before the break. It's time for the headline news. Please do stay tuned.
Headline news, Nigeria Info on
All right, welcome back. 29 minutes to the top of the hour. I've got Eugene Odey over the phone. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I asked a question, and I was saying, given the fact that it's only when you're convicted that you can be granted amnesty, how would you describe the effectiveness of the pardon that we have seen from government, even sometimes from the military, sometimes from the police, where, for instance, Boko Haram people who are tired of being in the Sambisa forest will come out and say, we give up, truce, give us amnesty.
Of course. Whatever it is, I told you, it's a program that, or should I say, strategy that has been deployed by government to see how to mitigate the incessant activities of criminals at various level and strata of our society. As far as it was applied in the Niger Delta case, we all can attest to the fact that there was a positive result at the end of the day. Yaradua was able to achieve peace across the Niger Delta by introducing that concept of amnesty. And we have seen it deployed in other parts of the country where it has shown significant positive results. We won't say it has not worked, but the truth is that it has not completely eradicated crime from the society.
Okay.
Crime must always happen, but the way you handle it is what you're going to have a decent society to live in, or you're going to escalate it. Because at some point, it was becoming like an incentive to criminals.
Okay.
Some people were actually taking advantage of the way the so-called troublemakers were being pampered, and were now actually presenting themselves as militants when they were really not. They call themselves freedom fighters when they were really not. So if you look at it, there are pros and cons. But ostensibly, we cannot say we can't throw away the baby and the bathwater. We can't say it failed. It actually succeeded to a large extent.
These people are alleged to have committed a crime. Some of them very violent crimes. For instance, the Boko Haram people or Donwani comes to mind. And these people at some point were granted amnesty. And the question then is, has it really been effective? Yes, it may have brought about some level of peace in the Niger Delta, but at what cost? And that's yet again is the question.
That's the point I just made now, that there are failures and there are also successes. We have made some gains, but we cannot say we had it 100%.
Okay.
Because some people now started taking advantage of that olive branch that was waved at them and started using it to wreak havoc on the society. Those ones who were hell-bent on frustrating the good gesture of the federal government or the state government, actually, some of them they found themselves in situations where they couldn't come out at the end of the day. So it's like using the carrot and the stick, the psychology of the carrot and the stick. You wave the carrot for anybody who is willing to be of good behavior, but when the person insists on the negative vice, then you apply the stick. So it will be wrong when you just come out using amnesty to chase after criminals when you're not intending to fight crime, and that's the problem we have in River State here.
All right.
These are the issues that we have at hand here. The brutal murder of SP Bako in Ahoda.
Yeah.
I can tell you that we in the human rights community, we are really mourning. It's not a very good, it's a sad tale for us, because we know that officer, we knew him right from when he was in Ogoni. We saw how he fought crime in Ogoni. We saw we have his antecedent, we have his records.
Yeah.
He's one of these, he's a non-compromising police officer. And we know that he's not just the person who will come and be begging you and chasing you around for amnesty. If he sees that you have committed a crime, he will come after you. I've never heard him being involved in brutalization of innocent civilians. We've never heard anything about him being involved in any shady activity or anything of sort. He's a man who has kept his record clean up to this moment. So his death is such that we condemn, all of us in the human rights community condemn in its entirety. And the pressure will be mounted on the CP to give us an explanation as to how this man died. Because what the CP is doing right now, if you ask me, he's playing to the gallery.
All right.
He's not telling us the truth.
What if that is
until proper investigation has been carried out?
Okay.
And then a holistic report is produced. Than for him to be talking the way he's talking now, because the way he's talking is leaving a lot to be desired.
Right.
There are more questions than answers as to what led to the death of this man. This man is not somebody that should just die and will just keep quiet and allow it to just slide by. He's somebody who has worked for this state. He has applied his professional skill to the best of his ability, and with proven track records and results. So the CP should be careful how he makes statements about this man's death.
All right.
Otherwise, it's going to trigger a reaction that will be unpleasant to him.
All right, then. Let's not trigger any unpleasant situation. Maybe preliminary investigations may have pointed to what he has said, because remember the story.
What I would like to ask CP, if I have the opinion, is that the governor of the state declare any amnesty to anybody or any criminal in that act.
All right.
Does the CP have the power to grant amnesty
But you see that's why no, it doesn't. From
what kind of amnesty was this man pushed into?
At
the point where he was slain. The question is that he was, according to what the reports coming out you have just read now, that he was lured or tricked into an amnesty arrangement.
Yeah.
And he was ambushed. The question is that who sent him on that mission to grant amnesty to anybody?
Now, can I come in now? Can I pause you? Can I pause you for a bit? Now, we've seen the former chief of army staff. Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name now. Buratai, thank you. It was the one who started, the issue and the talk about amnesty for Boko Haram insurgents. Yes, you're right, and that's why I actually questioned: can we have these pardons apart from the ones given by the president or governors? Because we've seen we've seen. I'm going somewhere. I agree with you, but I'm going somewhere. I'm saying we've seen where the military, the military has granted some kind of amnesty. We've seen where police commissioners have gone to communities and they have said, and it's on record, and they have said, community people who are cultists, community people who are disturbing the peace, please bring your arms. We'll forgive. We've seen stories and we've heard stories like that. So maybe they might not be backed by law, but these things happen. And that's why I asked you these questions, or the questions I've asked you today. So maybe that's what happened.
I've just told you that from the law, from the ambit of the law, which I've just made available to you, you can verify it.
Yeah.
That it is only the governor of a state who will restrict it to a state and leave the president out of, because this happened in River State.
True.
Amnesty can only be originated from the office of the governor of the state and not from the office of the commissioner of police or any DPO.
All right.
Before you engage in any activity to grant pardon to anybody, the governor of the state must be aware.
All right.
In fact, that action must be in consultation with the council created by the governor for advice. It's called the Protective of Mercy Advisory Council. Of course, you have the Security Council. Wike used to do it. Wike used to have the Security Council that advises him on things like this. So when they advise him, he will now make the order or make a declaration preventing anybody who wants to take advantage of the amnesty declared by the governor to come forward. Otherwise, he's going to unleash his power as a governor to chase after them. In the case of Bako, let the commissioner of police tell us who gave the directive of the police to be involved in amnesty. Was the governor of the state aware of that operation, that amnesty operation? Because the videos we are seeing online, the videos contradict what the commissioner of River State Police Commissioner is saying. Because we saw some video clips of this man going into the camp of these people to dismantle those camps. Because they were made of firearms, drugs, and munitions. It was on his way back from that operation that he was ambushed and slain. And he did not go for that operation alone. You went with other officers. And that's why we are asking these questions. The circumstances that led to the death of this man, I think the police have some answers more than what we are hearing from them. The police authorities have some internal investigation that they have to make among themselves before we begin to look at these things outside what they are telling us that it is.
All right then.
Let the government come tomorrow now and corroborate the statement of the Commissioner of Police to say that he, the governor of River State, actually initiated an amnesty program for that community for which Bako was going to execute. Then what the Commissioner of Police is saying will not make sense.
All right.
Other than that, what the Commissioner of Police is saying, I can tell you that his statement is premature.
All right then. Let's take some calls. Let's take some calls now, please.
The investigation is not yet concluded. So I think he should hold his gunpowder dry and ensure that a proper forensic investigation is taken as what led to the death of this man before he comes out to the media to begin to say the things he's saying.
All right. Let's take some calls now. Let's take some calls. Let's listen to some of our callers. We'll get your final 30002. First number to call. The second number to call 0817 923 0003. WhatsApp, a lot of messages already there, but you can still drop yours 0809 0306416. We're live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH. We're active on X, formerly Twitter, Nigeria Info PH. I've got Clinton. Clinton is calling from Bori. Clinton, greetings to you. Welcome. What is on your mind, please?
Yeah, thank you, Kalada.
Yeah.
I am of this opinion that amnesty is an incentive for crime.
Okay.
It is a failure of the security agencies to effectively curb crime. That's why they give amnesty.
All right.
Yeah, so I see no reason. And the statement of the CP, I think the CP is only adding fuel to a burning fire. Because we are told from the reports we got, from the same police, that they got a distress call that night. That was why they led the operation to the forest. And now the CP is telling us that he was the DPO, was deceived into an amnesty. I don't even understand what this man is saying.
All right.
And I personally don't see any reason for amnesty because graduates are languishing on the street, no jobs, and you're constantly paying criminals.
You can't call them criminals because they've not been convicted. You heard what the lawyer said.
Oh, but we know them as those that carry guns.
You know what the law says: innocent until proven guilty. I didn't write it.
It's all right.
I didn't write it. All right. Thank you very much, Clinton. Eric from Thai. Eric, greetings to you.
Kalada, good evening.
Yeah, I greet you.
Yes, your guest is right on point.
Okay.
I overheard the commissioner of police in the morning in the news. It is surprising to me to have made such a statement. In short, on the death of this man, the DPO and the work he has done in Ogoni land, the DP shouldn't hide under any cover. It should look for a method and strategy to make sure the people who are involved are caught and they are prosecuted.
All right.
There is no way amnesty can be granted in the forest. There is no way amnesty will be granted without the traditional rulers aware, without the governor, even without him, DP, being aware who directed him to grant the amnesty. He was strict in what format? How did he know he was strict? How many investigations has he conducted? How many persons has he arrested?
All right.
What about the political leaders?
All right.
I think these boys are the people who joined in the election, and they are trying to hide and cover them. He should look for a way and search them out.
All right, Eric.
So that whatever that happened to this man, with his prayer and justice will take its course.
All right, Eric. Thank you very much. I've got to move on now. I've got Obed from Port Harcourt. Obed, greetings to you. Welcome on the show.
Good evening, Kalada.
Yeah, quickly, please.
Good evening to your guest. Kalada.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. Yes, Kalada, I think your guest was right when they talk about how amnesty is given. Everything that comes to Nigeria is being abused. You do not beg for amnesty. You understand? Like the way our government is doing it. You are giving amnesty from the weaker point. Justice must take its course before you grant amnesty to a criminal. Just like he said, what is the offense of such criminal that you are giving amnesty? You understand? So I think in one way or the other, the government have indeed aided crime by giving amnesty. You understand?
All right.
That is it. Then on the side of status of CP, I don't understand where they are giving. They are going to grant amnesty at night, where somebody wants to surrender at night. I think there is more to it.
All right.
There has to be a thorough investigation. I think many people might be complacent on the death of this man. Let me stop there.
Okay. I think he meant complicit. But I've got CJ from Abloma. CJ, greetings. What is on your mind, please?
Good evening, Canada.
Yeah, greetings. Welcome.
The information we got at the first time this was that the man and his troop were going to the camp of the criminals, and they attacked. They were attacking. They were getting guns, and they ran out ammunition, and the other ones before he was caught and slain. And if now the commissioner is coming up to tell us that he was going for to amnesty, it is conflicting, because let's even assume that it is true, and then he was caught that they want to surrender their arms. He would have asked them to come to the office.
Mm. But what if okay. I wanted to ask you, what if he did not trust? What if Tubaba did not trust the police and said, you know what, let's meet at the forest and let's talk amnesty? That could be a possibility, right?
If they want to talk amnesty, they would have got them to the office, not to go and meet them in the camp.
But what if you still don't get the point? I mean, I understand where you're looking at it from, but what if they had come to the office and they were arrested? That's also another angle to it.
Andrew, let me cut in here.
Canada, actually.
All the amnesty programs that have been handled by past administrations in River State.
Yeah.
None was done, like you heard other callers. None was done inside the forest or in the camp of the militants.
Okay. But Eugene, Mr. Eugene, this is where I'm coming from. For the alleged criminals to trust you, or the criminal elements to trust you, there has to be an agreement before they come out. That's what I'm saying.
That is the point I am making.
Okay.
All the ones that have been done before, the governor is always aware.
Okay.
The commissioner of police is always aware. This information will be sent to the authorities first. Anybody who wants to surrender his arms knows where to go to say, look, we want to surrender our arms. A date will be fixed. Everybody will be there with 10, 20 people will surrender their arms.
All right.
So that it will be a transparent thing, not when the person has come to surrender his arms or he has repented and shown himself to be a repentant person. You not go behind and now begin to harass the person. So it is always a transparent exercise where everybody is informed, especially the governor of the state.
All right.
If the governor of the state is not involved in that exercise, then we cannot say it's an amnesty program or an amnesty exercise. It has to be initiated from the office of the governor. So if anybody has listened to the SC Bako, SC Bako himself knows that before he will go and say, look, he's granting amnesty to anybody, or he has to report to the CP, and the CP will seek approval from the governor, and the governor will assent to it before that thing can be done.
All right.
But in this whole scenario, I can tell you for free that the governor was not aware.
All right. Okay.
If the governor of the state was aware, he will not be giving bounties for anybody who is going to arrest the killer of this DPO.
All right. I would have.
The commissioner of police has some questions to answer. Very strong questions to answer. Is he aware of what happened to this man and is trying to divert the attention of the public? If he's aware, then he should come in and tell us what happened.
All right. Okay.
If
So
he's not aware, then he should open this thing up for forensic investigation.
I would
There's nothing wrong in it calling for help from the IG's office to say, look, this one is bigger than me. Bring these people to come and help me resolve this issue. Not for him to be talking hastily.
All right, I would have to pause you now.
You won't get into confusion because the person that we're talking about here is not an ordinary police officer.
I would have to pause you. I would have to pause you now. There's a commercial break.
Areas of this state.
Oh my. There is a commercial break coming up. I would have to end the conversation now, but do thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, Eugene Odey, human rights lawyer, and we have been talking about amnesty, and it's very much passionate, as many other people in Rivers State, about the killing of SP Bako Agbashim. All right, I've got tons of messages here. Where do I start from? Ugo, I see your message. Thank you very much, Ugo. Let's see this other one. I think the word I believe you meant to say amnesty is overused and abused in this part of the world after granting it to the militants during the Niger Delta struggle. It's unfortunate that every criminal, such as armed robbers, cultists, and some kind of notorious elements, want to be given amnesty today. We should know that the Niger Delta militants were not criminals because they fought against the Nigerian government for failing to develop the region. They did not just take up arms and start killing innocent people. The reason for the amnesty is to enable the government to maintain peace, so that it will enable them to continue the excavation, exploitation, and exportation of the resources in the region. Today, even criminals who committed crime for no reason want amnesty. Hector, thank you very much. Commercial break.
For more talk, news and sports,